right. Hi, good morning, everyone. Lots of people here. I was pretty surprised by how complicated that exercise was, considering how little of the amount that you were trying to reach was. But in all reality, money is actually not that complicated. And getting the money that you want and living the richest life possible, getting all the wealth that you ever want in one lifetime, there's only really 3 secrets to doing that. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Give you a little insight about what I've learned in the last few years. But first, I'm going to start with my personal story. And my story of how I kind of really struggled with money at the beginning and found my way out of that mess. But I'm really excited to be here talking to you guys because 4 years ago I was literally sitting where you are now, in those really super comfortable, red, cushy Boston University chairs, because 4 years ago, this is where I graduated from school. So that's me. Yeah, go Terriers. I'm the one in the funny red cap, or the red gown and the black cap. It looks really fashionable, I know. So this is me just minutes after I walked across the stage, after I got my diploma. This is minutes after my mom started bawling and crying. She was just so proud of her baby. And this was a really important moment for me because my brother and my mom had flown all the way out from Seattle, which is where I grew up, to come see me graduate because I was actually the first person in my family to get a college degree. And that was a big deal, yeah. That was a big deal for me. That was a big deal for them. And so that's why I'm kind of grinning like an idiot in this photo. So raise your hand if you know where you want to go to school or what you want to do in the next few years with your life to prepare for your college degree. Awesome. Yeah, and some of you guys are going to vocational school or going off to work right away. So lots of people already know what they want to do. And I'm gonna let you guys in on kind of my criteria for how I decided what I wanted to do with my life. So anyone from Boston University who's working here, you guys can kind of cover your ears because this is how I ended up applying to BU, and I don't recommend anyone kind of make decisions this way, but the first criteria I had for what I wanted to do with my life and what college I wanted to go to was apply wherever my friends were going. So that was step 1 for me. How many of you guys are kind of taking stock of what your other friends are doing and maybe, oh, okay, all right, I might go there. Yeah, I might do that. That's exactly what I did. Since I was the first person in my family to go to college, I didn't really know what I was doing, so I just kind of copied my friends. So the second criteria I had when I was trying to go to school was I didn't have a lot of savings, and my family didn't save for college either. So wherever I ended up going, I knew that I had to get a financial aid package that covered everything I needed. So I didn't care how it was covered. All I knew is that I didn't want to pay money right away to go to school. And then my third criteria, and I love my family very much, but I wanted to get as far away from them as possible. And you can't, it sounds like some of you might agree with me there. So you can't get much further from Seattle than Boston, so that's how I ended up at BU. So graduation day, I was so excited. I was so happy to have my degree. And I knew too, because the reason I wanted to go to school and be the first person in my family to get a diploma is because I knew that was gonna be my ticket to an awesome paycheck. It was gonna be my ticket to earning like adult money, like we said earlier, a paycheck that looks like a phone number. Okay, because I was excited to live my wealthy life where I didn't have to worry about money ever again. So in that moment, that my dream was coming true after graduation. So for all of you out there who are planning kind of your next step in life, imagine yourself in that moment. Imagine yourself at 22, or if you're already around that age, just imagine yourself a few years from now. And imagine, I know you guys did some goal setting exercises a few weeks ago, but think about your dream life and that picture that pops in your head of the kind of money that you have, the kind of things that you can do, and think about what you could do if you didn't have to worry about money. So some of you, raise your hand if this is something that popped in your head. Maybe, yeah, cars, anyone? The car of your dreams can be a reality. That might pop into your head. Were you thinking about maybe where you lived, who you lived with, how you were decorating your living room? Something nice like that. For me, I was thinking about how I was going to invest my money in shoes. So that was my goal with my adult paycheck, my real paycheck, to buy all of the great clothes that I wasn't able to afford before. So that, for me, was one of the criteria for living the wealthiest, richest life possible. The other piece, though, growing up, I just didn't want to have to worry ever again about money. I didn't want that stress to ever be a part of my life, because I knew it was as a teenager, and so I just wanted security and comfort and to feel good about how I was earning money and using it. So that was me at graduation, and let's fast forward 3 months, and this is me on the other side. I'm literally on the other side. This is me in Cambridge, so I'm across the river right now. But this is also me on the other side of reality. So I had the dream of living the richest life possible, and that dream, it wasn't so dreamy, and it's not what happened right away. So it was hard for me to find a good paying job right out of school. I was earning minimum wage, so I was getting about $1,000 a month, which is really hard, especially when you're in Boston, in the city, trying to live by yourself. But more importantly, beyond that, somehow I had accumulated $30,000 in debt. And I did not know how I did that. So if you remember my second criteria for the kind of school that I wanted to go to and how I was going to pay for school, I wasn't really paying attention to how I did that. So all the schools I applied to, even BU, gave me a financial aid package that covered everything. I just didn't really pay attention to how it was being covered. And apparently, I found this out after graduation, a lot of that was student loans. So now here I am, making about $1,000 a month, $30,000 in debt, and I'm starting to rack up credit card debt because I'm struggling to get by day to day. This is not the dream life that I pictured. And I will always remember the moment where it felt like I hit rock bottom with my money. And I was waiting in line at the pharmacy, and I was about to buy some prescription medication. And it was going to cost me $50. And I knew that I only had $60 in my checking account. So I could either buy that medicine or I could buy my bus pass for the month. And I ended up picking the bus pass. And that's a bad decision. And I knew in that moment, I never wanted to have to make that decision again, and something had to change about the way I managed my money, but more importantly, I had to get out there and tell everyone how to avoid that situation themselves. So what I did is I went on a journey to figure out, how do you master money? How do I master my own money? Because it was kicking my butt at that time. So I needed to find out everything I could about money and budgeting and personal finance. So I read everything I could. I started, clipping coupons and going to the grocery store and trying out different strategies to stretch $1 here and there. Going out on the weekend with friends. We made it a challenge to see if we could only spend $5 each. It's totally possible. You would be surprised. And then I started saving because I knew that the only way out of the situation I was in was to save, even if it was painful, even if it was only a few cents here, a few dollars here, to just save a little bit at a time, all the while trying to tackle that $30,000 debt monster that was kind of looming over my shoulder. So while I was fixing my own finances, I started teaching classes. I started teaching others, and I actually started teaching people who had just arrived to America about personal finance, who didn't even know how the banking system worked, who didn't know what a credit card was, who didn't know how to build a credit score. So I started teaching classes, and I realized while I was fixing myself, I could help others avoid a similar fate, and I could help others fix their own situation. And I realized, out of my own experience, that this is actually kind of a career that I wanted to pursue. So you'll be happy to learn that I actually landed a job. I moved to Washington, D.C., there's me, capital, that's not real size. And I moved to DC and I got my adult paycheck. It felt like a real job, and I could afford things that I wanted to buy, and I could afford the lifestyle I wanted. It was a real job because I got to wear a suit. That's how I knew it was a real job. And I started a website, I started a blog where I would help people fix their own debt situations and kind of avoid getting into those financial messes. And then I started reaching out and speaking and talking to folks and teaching and trying to get folks to think about their money today and the decisions that you can make in this moment, this morning, this afternoon, and tomorrow that will affect the rest of your life. So in talking to 6-year-olds, which are really funny group to talk to about money, you'd be surprised that they think that money is actually printed out of ATM machines. So talking to 6-year-olds to 60-year-olds, talking to students and high schoolers, talking to my friends and my family, I realized that money isn't that complicated, but it all is about, what's complicated is understanding how the simple, really, really simple decisions you make today have the impact on whether or not you can live that awesome, rich, wealthy life that you want in the future. So I am going to talk about those 3 decisions. So whether or not you're making tons of money now, or will make tons of money later, or whether or not you're going to go to a 4-year university, whether or not you're going to go to BU, whether or not you're going to head off to work right away, there are 3 decisions you can make today in the situation you're in that will impact your future. So here's the first decision that you get to make. How will I turn $10 into $100? And yes, this is a real decision. So raise your hand right now if you've got $1 in your wallet. Okay, good. Glad you could see you're wealthy already. All right, raise your hand if you've got $10. Okay, good. So everyone's got $10. Now think about those $10 and think about what you could do with that money. You could probably go to like Chipotle, right, and buy like 2 burritos with that. You could buy like 2 expensive coffee type latte iced drinks somewhere. You could maybe buy a really, 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 really cheap t-shirt. You probably don't want that $10 t-shirt. But you could buy a few things with that $10. Now imagine if someone came up to you right now and handed you a $100 bill. Imagine how that would feel. That's like, nice. What could I do with this? That has possibility. That has potential. That's something way bigger than a $10 bill. And you know what the magic of a $100 bill is? It's just a bunch of tens added together. And so your decision, whenever you come across $1 or $10 or 20, is how am I going to grow that into something meaningful for me? Because that $100 has a lot more possibility than a 10. And it's not as hard as you might think. For this summer, for example, if you saved just $10 a week, you'd have 100. That's a few less kind of going out to a restaurant or fast food this week. And if you only saved about $10 a week, if you were going off to a 4-year college, or you spent 4 years just taking a 10, putting it in a piggy bank, putting it in a savings account, you'd have $2,000. And imagine what you could do with $2,000. On the other hand, if you just spent that $10 a week, the thing you would end up with is just kind of $10 worth of greasy fast food wrappers. So the decision really is yours. You can spend your money today on something that's just okay, or you can take that money and you can use it for something great in the future. And all that it comes down to is just saving a little. It only takes a little bit of money to get there. So the second decision you have to make: can I wait 24 hours to buy the thing that I want? Who thinks that they can do that? It's hard, right? That's about half of you. That's good. That's diligent. So raise your hand if you've bought something online, or you've gone into a store because there was a big sale sign outside. It was like, 50% off. I think I'll go in there. So Here's a quick math lesson for you guys. I want you guys to just shout out the answer when you know it. If there is a t-shirt in a store and it's $20 and it's 50% off, how much are you saving? $10, I hear $10 there. There's some tax you have to consider. How much are you saving? That's correct, the Gen 1 in the back. You are not saving anything because you're spending $10. It was a trick question. So even if you see a sale that's 50% off some sort of article of clothing, you're actually spending $10. And you know what? Sales are designed to get you to come into a store and spend money, not to save it. And how many of you guys have bought something because all your friends were there, or you're at the mall with your friends, or you ended up kind of seeing what they had? Yeah, so the other pressure that comes along with spending money is definitely what your friends are doing. So you have, again, another decision to make, which is if you can wait, and if you can think about the things that you really love and the things that matter to you in life, you can buy whatever you want, as long as it's the things you love, the things that matter, the things that bring you value. And don't let pressure, any sort of pressure, a sale, friends, or any sort of impulse purchase affect what you're doing with your money, because that's the quickest way for it to get out of control and for you to lose track of what you're buying. So decide on what matters to you most before you go out and make a purchase. Decide in what, again, every dollar that you have, you're investing into something. It's something for you, it's something for later. So make sure that you exercise some patience and think about it, because patience can pay you. It can literally save you hundreds of dollars if you just wait and think if that thing that you wanted to buy so badly is actually worth it. And here's the final decision that you get to make today, which is, who will pay for my life? Is it going to be today me, or is it going to be tomorrow me? And here's a clue, and I'm sure you already know this based on kind of my own history with being $30,000 in debt, is that one of these choices is going to cost you more money, it's going to cost you more time, it's going to cost you comfort, and it's going to cost you freedom and opportunity. So here's another scenario for you guys. If I told you that for 5 hours of work today, I would give you $5,000, who would do that? Yeah? All right, so I've got a couple people on that list. That opportunity exists. It does. It's called a scholarship application. I'm not even joking. So for a little bit of time, for putting in the work and the energy today, you have the choice to earn tons of money in the future and to avoid debt and to avoid the kind of situation that I found myself in. So it's painful now, you're like, I don't really want to write this essay, I've already done 5 of them, but you have the chance, one more essay, one more application, to save yourself thousands of dollars in the future. And one of the things I regretted not doing was applying to more scholarships and grants and making sure I didn't have to take out all of those student loans to pay for school. And the other thing too is not realizing that I had a family that had a lot of financial need. And I could actually go and find those opportunities where someone else would come in and help me pay for school because my family couldn't afford it. So taking the time and energy today for you guys to understand how much that can pay in the future is an incredibly important decision for you all to make. So that's it. Those are the 3 decisions, which is save just a little, and it can add up to a lot. Spend smartly. You can still spend money. That's what money is for. But being smart about those choices that you make. And then finally, borrow only what you need. And it includes credit card debt, it includes student loans, it includes taking out a loan to buy a car, but making sure that you are only borrowing what you need. And here's the real secret to all of this, which is that you guys are at the exact moment where these decisions really matter. And you get to decide today exactly what your financial future looks like and exactly how rich and awesome your life will become. Thank you.